Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Diablo 4. So, today we are going to talk about my recommendations for leveling up through Season 4. Obviously, I am playing, with a character who's had some time to think about this, but my recommendation for leveling up for Season 4 is actually going to be a blood build again. So, if we look at the skill tree, as you are starting out, you're going to want to just take Hemorrhage, 2 points, before going down into Blood Surge. Blood Surge is the brain dead option for leveling up quickly and easily. So, Blood Surge is just always going to be solid. You're going to want to go to Enhanced Blood Surge, and then Paranormal Blood Surge. We're going to take 1 point down Living Energy just to get into Imperfectly Balanced, and Hued Flesh because we are going to be blending a corpse build into this as we go along. So, as you are leveling up, I recommend actually you ignore Blood Mist initially. Blood Mist is kind of later. I honestly didn't need Blood Mist until, we were getting into, the tier, 70 Nightmare Dungeons and Uber Bosses. But ultimately, once you start needing the iframes, switching to Blood Mist would be my recommendation. We are going to take 5 points into Corpse Explosion, again because we are leaning heavily into the blended build, to enhance Corpse Explosion, and for now we are taking just Plagued Corpse Explosion. When we inevitably switch to something Shadow, then obviously we switch up here. Obviously, you're going to take all 3 points into Skeletal Warrior Mastery. This is a minion build, and the minions are good, guys! The minions are finally good! And 3 points each into Grim Harvest and Fueled by Death. 3 points into Amplify Damage. And you're going to take Iron Maiden and Enhanced Iron Maiden just to get your Essence gain back so you can spam Blood Surge. That is... The point of the leveling build is just to be able to click the button and spam while your minions do most of the work. 3 points into Skeletal Mage Mastery. We are taking just a couple of points to enhance our blood skills for now. And then 1 point only into Corpse Tendrils, going to Plagued Corpse Tendrils. And once again, we're going to take 3 into Necrotic Carapace. This is what I recommend instead of Blood Mist. When you are leveling up, I recommend actually taking Army of the Dead all the way to Supreme Army of the Dead to get your minions back as you are building them up. 3 points into Inspiring Leader and 3 points into Hellbent Commander, and we are going to take the Callan's Edict. Let's talk a little bit about the gear and my recommendations for it and the alternatives. Obviously, disclaimer, before you can really get the most money out of a blood set for minions, you are going to be waiting on a drop from the Death Speaker's Pendant. I got quite lucky and got one from the Blood Maiden in World Tier 3, which opened up the door to do a Blood Surge build that would benefit my little minions. And then, let me go to my box here. Instead of, later on, you are going to want Black River. Where are my wands? In the early stages, instead, you are going to look for a wand that preferably has overpower damage, and I have damage on it too. And then, rings. Obviously, ultimately, you want to be using the Ring of Mendeln and the Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul. But you could also get good money. Get good money out of rings that have overpower damage, crit strike chance, crit strike damage are always good. And then we are going to be using a focus. I have quite a nice one, I would say. And then, for now, we're just using normal legendaries in our gear. On our focus, we're going to take the aspect of Untimely Death. On the helmet, we are using the Undying aspect because it's basically Andariel's visage and just gives you a little cushion of survivability. Once again, I've gone with survivability for the leveling process, which would be the aspect of the Protector, to just keep you alive for a little bit longer. Because like I said, ultimately you're not taking Blood Mist until a little bit later. On our gloves, we're specifically looking for things like crit strike chance, and I got a boost on overpower damage, ultimately blood scales with overpower. So we are going with that. On our leggings, we've taken the aspect of hardened bones. Just a damage reduction for you and your minions, and keep you alive longer, let you progress faster. And here is where I will talk about one of the nicest things that you can find on gear, and I would recommend very strongly that you look specifically for this. My boots have a boost to Skeletal Warrior Mastery, and if you can get Skeletal Warrior or Skeletal Mage Mastery, that is a good piece to boost your minions and make you have to do less of the work. So, as you are progressing, ultimately you are going to get into tempering, and there's a couple of things that you need to focus on. Again, if this is about survivability and leveling up quickly, the armor cap is, as I believe, 9,260. I'm a little bit over, but pieces that have total armor, in this case I have tempered for total armor, and resistance to all elements is also a really good aspect for your gear for leveling up. Because ultimately you want all of your resistances capped if you can manage it, because stuff starts really hurting towards the higher levels. And we've also tempered for Corpse Explosion. Again, we are playing off of the Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul, which just blows up corpses automatically and makes your life easier if you can get extra explosion size. This one I have taken Iron Maiden size, and again, total armor and resistance to all elements. Honestly, this chest piece is not good, and if I wasn't planning on switching away from this leveling build soon, I would be looking to replace it. Because this is just more survivability than you need. Like, you don't need the life per second or anything. But the resistance to elements and total armor, very important. And once again, we're now looking at doing like summoning damage on quite a few of our pieces for tempering, because we want our minions to be doing as much of the work as we possibly can make them do. And I've played around with some thorns things. Like, again, if I had more time, I would be looking to get rid of some of the thorns tempering. But again, you want to make sure that you are at 9,260 armor and max resistance if you can, which is going to take us cleanly into our Paragon board, which we will talk about here. So, on our first board here, we are going to be taking the Exhumation Glyph, which is, again, going to do increased damage and fortify you for consuming corpses. Again, survivability is the name of the game. And we have also ducked down here to grab the resistance to all elements nodes. Moving up into your first board, I recommend the Flesh Eater board, and crawling up to grab that through here for the damage boost, where you are going to socket Corporeal. Scoot right on into here for the Cult Leader board, which you are going to snake up and grab that, and of course, Cult Leader board, you socket Dead Razor. That's just how that is. I strongly recommend going for that. And of course, you are going to take all of the boosts for your minions on this board. Going down, we're going to snake through Bone Graft, because this is an essence-heavy build. You can sneak down here and grab some good essence boost, and as you are crossing through, socket essence, and snake on over to the Bloodbath board, which is going to increase our overpower damage. and socket exploit. And then up at the very end, we have just enough points to sneak into Scent of Death and socket dominate. And that is going to be the main setup for your Paragon board. But I do want to draw attention specifically. I was taking those out. There are additional resistance boosts here. As you're working your way with the Paragon points, you can grab additional resistance to all elements. Just keeps you alive for a little bit longer. On which note, we're going to waste no time seeing exactly what this board can do. I'm going to grab these. Set aside just for you guys. Where I believe we're going to go give Ondariel a poke. So you can kind of see this build in action. And we are also premiering a new pony in Season 4. Blizzard has gotten more of my money to buy a proper mare for a Queen of the Dead. So, Arashkigel is getting a little bit of a rest this season. I have named her Amaterasu. So, the thing you need to remember about this build is that it is always going to be extremely solid, but it is going to start to fall off in the end game. This is mostly just to get you comfortably to level 100 and let you start grinding for some of the uniques and better armor pieces and pit levels that you're going to need to begin assembling a real build. But the Blood Surge build is always going to be quite solid. And give you the most comfortable journey to level 100, comfortable and quick, to go to level 100 that you can possibly arrange. Shadow Cannon. Flamethrower in the final phase. Where you notice I was busy clearing the environmental nonsense, and the minions just went on ahead and finished her off. So you can see against the standard Uber bosses, the blood build, or the variation on the blood summoner, is going to be extremely solid. There are, of course, other advantages to this build that I will take a second to show you if we figure out where our Helltide is. Where, if you give me just a quick second, I will see if I can find what I'm looking for. Yeah, sure, we'll do one of these. Which is, of course, as you know from Season 2, the variation on the Blood Summoner is one of the strongest things for the Blood Harvest. And here in Season 4, we have gone on ahead and taken a lot of the best parts of Blood Harvest and taken them into the Helltide, including the new, shiny, improved Blood Siphons. We have one of them here, but this is not the proper one for the demonstration. Where, as you can see, like an absolute idiot, you're just going to stand here and click the button mostly. destroy absolutely everything that has the audacity to come onto the screen in your presence. The notable downside, if you are early on and just snuck into World Tier 4 way before you should have, but this is going to increase your threat level in the Helltide by a significant margin. And that's gonna do it. So, our minions will just go on ahead and tear that apart. And if you give me a second, I will look for the blood siphon. Yeah, well, why don't we crash this party really fast? Since I was going to come here anyway. No. It looks like I'll be coming back here anyway. All we can do now is put here. Which is, of course, the, big Helltide equivalent from last season. The Blood Harvest. And this is a good demonstration of why we have switched up to the Blood Mist for our later, our waning use of the Blood Summoner style build-up. Which starts, of course, with clearing a couple of waves of ads. Before we talk to the nasty lady who likes to kill me a lot, but always has materials for me for boss summoning, which does make it pretty worth fighting her if you happen to be bored. Also, of note, I should mention that this is going to push me over into threat level 3. Which is gonna make things a little spicy. Okay, Blood Maiden up. Beware the red rings of death, always. You can come straight through her. She will have, as I said, a couple of goodies for you. Materials, legendaries. It is usually worth doing the Blood Maiden if you happen to be bored. She's just going to have good things for you. But as much as I could say just from Blood Maiden materials, we still have a Blood Siphon to find. Here we are. So, the Ravenous Soulspire is the Helltide equivalent of the Blood Siphon from Season 2. And it is going to get reasonably intense here. But if you are looking to farm cinders to get your early boxes... No. I went to level 3 inside the Blood Siphon. That's not ideal. It's quite arrogant of me to still stand here and just pretend like this is fine. But we should be fine as long as it doesn't spawn the Hellborn / Bloodseeker that I affectionately just call the Bastard. But if you are running this kind of build, this is a fantastic way to just get a bunch of early cinders. The Hellborn is up. Sure you're not standing by the burning. And there you have it. The blood siphon. Now I'm going to grab all of my useless garbage. And then I am sure... Actually, where is the living steel box? Up there. We're enjoying the fruits of the Ubers again. I'm sure that you are wondering what the actual numbers on this look like. So to close out the demonstration on the leveling build before I switch over to a real endgame build, we're going to stop in here and you can see for yourself what kind of numbers this is doing in the final stages of the leveling build. So the first thing that I'm going to let you see is what the minions are doing. As I just sit back and do nothing, you can see that they're hitting between 100,000 and 500,000, just depending on their crits. Which, of course, I boost with the damage from the Iron Maiden. And you can pretty much sit back and just let them destroy basically anything that stands in their way. If I myself start getting involved, you can see that the crits are respectable, ranging, you know, in the like 300,000 to 750,000 range. This is why this is not a endgame, like, you know, high-end pit level build right now. But for the most part, you are going to be able to sit back and do basically nothing. And let your minions kill everything. And I do mean everything. Under the sun, while you kick back and rake in experience. I would like to just show you just what the minions are doing. To all of the, like, basic stuff that you're going to be doing a lot of as soon as you're in World Tier 4. You'll be farming the bosses to get your uniques and all of that. Aside, allegedly, Varshan drops the Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul and the Death Speaker's Pendant, but she sure doesn't want to in Season 4. But if you ask the internet, those are what are in his loot table and, of course, are very important to this leveling. So, with the boosts that we have given our minions, I'm going to go on ahead and curse him, and then you're going to watch him just disappear. So there you have it, lords and ladies. That is my recommendation for your leveling guide to go to 100 in the quickest and comfiest way that you possibly can. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for my long-term build. I'm playing around with some things, but I have not yet made a decision about what the final build is for continuing on into the upper pit tiers and the tormented bosses. For now, I hope you have enjoyed a little bit of Diablo content after entirely too long. And I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.